So the third holy grail of taboos in American politics, you have socialism, you have Islam, and then you have Palestine. And you are really going for the trifecta.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go. Tell me, why is Palestine a part of your politics?
When you grow up as someone, especially in the third world, you have a very different understanding of the Palestinian struggle.
The man who is potentially inches away from running America's largest, oldest city wants to adopt third world philosophies and ideologies and apply them to the United States of America. This is who the Democrats are now calling their new darling. This is who Bill Clinton has just endorsed. I haven't seen if Obama's endorsed him yet, but Bill Clinton is, he's there. He's in the top echelon of the Democratic caucus and the establishment, along with Soros, Holly Weirdo, Obama, etc. Hakeem Nobody's Dream Jeffries now saying they're so desperate for a W. They're so desperate because they're literally on life support. Their approval ratings are the worst they've been in history, as justifiably so. They're just, you can see their swampy, slimy hand clutching for just one breath of power to retain because they're scared to death to have a real job. Now they're endorsing him. I'm going to share with you some clips of Mamdani. If you don't know what's been going on, this will tell you everything you need to know, even though I've been talking about this for a while, because this is dangerous. This man is extremely dangerous. He is a profound Bolshevik. You can't even say communist or socialist. He's a Bolshevik. He's more left than Bernie Sanders or AOC could ever imagine. And this guy is inches away from taking control of New York City. I'm going to share with you some clips of him doubling and tripling down on his stances today, which are going to blow your mind. And then I'm going to share with you Trump, our guy, responding in brutal, fierce, raw, authentic fashion, as we always hope, want, wish, and yearn for. You don't want to miss that. But first, check this out.
The things that we've said beyond saying that we're going to make this a sanctuary city for LGBTQIA plus workers, beyond saying that we're going to establish an office of LGBTQIA plus affairs, is also that we're going to provide $65 million in funding for gender-affirming care, the same amount of funding that the federal government threatened to pull out from local providers for that kind of work. And in this moment especially, we want to fight the Trump administration. We have to do so by fully funding our own services, taxing the wealthiest New Yorkers and corporations here.
And where exactly are you going to get this $65 million from, Zohran? Where do the Democrats, where do the people voting for this think that the money's going to come from? It's just going to magically come out of thin air? No. You, me, hardworking, law-abiding, tax-paying, hardworking citizens, it's going to come out of our pockets to pay for everything that the American people spoke resoundingly against on November 5th, 2024. They're literally defying the will of the people.
I think we've gotten to this point because for months, students have been very consistent in their call, which is a call for the end of this war. They are concerned by the fact that more than 30,000 Palestinians have been killed, and they've seen their universities as part of this war effort, given the investments that many of these universities have. And yet for many months, their call has been denied, it has not been heard, it has been ignored, and we've gotten to this point here. These students, in their actions, they were calling upon a tradition that's existed at Columbia for decades. In 1968, students set up these similar kinds of encampments to ensure that their call for an end to the war was being heard. What concerns me is that the real danger that occurred in that situation was when the police came in, many of them guns drawn, introducing a risk that previously had not existed on that campus, where just for the last few days, a number of pro-Israel protesters have shown up to those encampments with baseball bats, threatening genocide and ethnic cleansing on those students.
That was 2024. He's been very consistent with his message. Everything that he just said there in that clip is unequivocally false. The agitators, the aggressors, were the students who were paid, organized, architected, systemic by Soros and other entities. They all had the same tents. They all had these were expensive tents. They were blockading Jewish Israeli students. This isn't even about Israel, Palestine. This is just about terrorism, pure and simple. These are people who paid a lot of money to go to those schools, to be able to attend, to go to check out their classes, talk to their professors, visit the halls that they need to get the work done that they need to get their grades and their diplomas. And they were denied that, not by security, not by the campus, not by law enforcement, not by any entity authorized, but by students claiming to be there for peaceful protest. Just like they called the LA riots peaceful protests, where the entire city was burning for 5 days, and Karen Bass waited until the 5th day, to call in a curfew. It's just absolutely nuts, and it's all done intentionally. I'm going to talk more about that in just a second. Okay, now some clips from today. Just 2 quick ones, and then we're going to get to Trump. Here is Mamdani saying exactly what the American people voted for, that he's going to fight and obstruct ICE operations in New York City. Watch this.
Questions. Let's talk about immigration, deportation. Are you committed to keeping New York as a sanctuary city?
Absolutely, because ultimately we've seen that this is a policy that has kept New Yorkers safe for decades. It's a policy that had previously been defended by Democrats and Republicans alike until the fear-mongering of this current mayor. And it's a policy that we've seen ensures that New Yorkers can get out of the shadows and into the full life of the city that they belong to. And it's one that I will be proud to stand up for.
Well, you know, the border czar, Tom Homan, has said that he is planning to deploy ICE agents to New York, worksite enforcement to essentially increase and enhance the number of ICE agents here. If that happens on your watch, how do you plan to handle it?
We have to stand up and fight back, and we haven't seen that from our current mayor, who has instead been working with the Trump administration to assist in their goal of building the single largest deportation force in American history. I mean, we saw ICE agents arrest a migrant at Federal Plaza, and then we saw NYPD officers arresting a pastor who was peacefully observing that arrest. Those days are going to come to an end when I'm the mayor. The NYPD's job is to create public safety in the city, not to assist ICE agents in their mission to attack the very fabric of this city.
The very fabric of this city. The very fabric of this city is criminals, gangsters, rapists, murderers. That's the fabric of New York City. Anybody from New York agree with any of this hubbub, this garbage? I don't know. The last I checked, a city flourishes, a civilized society flourishes when there is a very, very stark presence of law and order. You look at the difference between Florida and New York and California. What does Florida do? Florida says, not only are we going to help ICE agents, we're going to build Alligator Alcatraz, a detention center that is state-of-the-art, surrounded by a moat of alligators, and then give it an American badass name like Alligator Alcatraz. What does this guy do? He says, we're going to fight Trump. We're going to spend millions of dollars of your tax dollars, your hard-earned money, to fight everything that you voted for. We all know why. We all know why. And I'll talk about that in a second. But here is probably the most cringeworthy clip. I promise this will be the last one. Here is the most cringeworthy clip of them all, where Mamdani the Bolshevik says, I don't think there should be billionaires. Watch the cringy laugh. It's disgusting. It's grotesque. Watch.
You are a self-described democratic socialist. Do you think that billionaires have a right to exist?
I don't think that we should have billionaires because, frankly, it is so much money in a moment of such inequality. And ultimately, what we need more of is equality across our city and across our state and across our country. And I look forward to work with everyone, including billionaires, to make a city that is fairer for all of us.
I don't understand. Like, why the gross, cringy, disgusting laugh? There was nothing funny about that statement. Who do you think is going to provide the jobs? Who do you think is going to provide the tax money that you need to execute those LGBTQIA surgeries, gender-affirming surgery? Who's going to provide all of the resources? Who's going to provide the economic stability? Like, it's just absurd. It's so adolescent. This guy, I think he's 30. I don't even know how old he is. To me, he's got the mentality of a 13-year-old. My son could run New York City better than this guy. I want to play for you. I think this is really important. I'm going to share with you the Trump clip. It's coming, I promise. But I want to share this first. I think this is so amazing. This TikToker really breaks it down. This is somebody who actually helped AOC to get elected in the Bronx. And then listen to what she says about Mamdani and the difference between being adolescent and then growing up and realizing, oh, I'm an adult now. Actually, you do need police. Actually, you can't penalize the hardworking, law-abiding citizens that provide every resource for our cities, community, and country. This is such an important clip. If you know anybody, or maybe you have a son, a grandchild, or what have you, nephew, niece, neighbor, whatever, who's Gen Z, 18, 22, 25, this is the clip that really pertains to them. This is called critical thinking personified. Watch this.
New York City just nominated this guy, Zohran Mamdani, who is a socialist, to represent them for the mayor's election. And if I was 25, I would be obsessed with Zohran. When I was 25, I was actually 26, 27, I helped get AOC elected. I made a video for her campaign that went super viral. I met her a ton of times, and I was a huge AOC person. Now I'm 35, and like every stereotypical person, I've grown up and I've learned that these feel-good politics of promising free food, free college, free apartments, like you get free, you get free, you get free. It feels so good. You feel as a young person when your frontal lobe is not fully developed and you're thinking more in black and white that this is going to be good, right? You're indoctrinated as a young person in America to believe that capitalism is bad and all your problems are because of these evil business owners. But I have to warn young people who are caught up in the Mamdani vibe is that the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and we've seen time and time again in countries and cities that adopt these socialist programs is that the rich people who are going to pay for them are going to leave because of a high taxes, and then we just get more taxes and less for it. And one example of this on a smaller scale is in New York in 2019, there was a law that was passed by the state house, all Democrats, to pause rent hikes on rent stabilized apartments. So they could no longer rent hike. So say, for example, an apartment is rent stabilized. It's had the same tenant since the 1970s. It comes up for rent. Landlords, because of this law, can only raise the rent by 2%. So say in 1970, someone was paying $200 a month. You're now going to be paying $220 a month in 2025. But the problem is that rent stabilized apartment needs to be renovated and brought up to 2025 code. So because of this law, what's happened is now there are tens of thousands of empty apartments in New York that are rent stabilized that the landlords are not renovating because they know they cannot make their money back if they renovate them. And again, these landlords are not like evil people. And when you're indoctrinated into this sort of leftist, oppressed mindset, you think like business owners are evil. They're not. Many of them are small businesses, they're working on a margin. And so it's not affordable for them to put hundreds of thousands of dollars into an apartment that they cannot charge market rate for. And so what's happening is landlords are letting these apartments now sit empty and go into foreclosure. And so that's why we have such a bad housing crisis right now in New York, is because of these leftist policies that feel so good to vote for. Like, yay, of course you don't want to raise rent on rent stabilized apartments. Like that feels so good. But you guys have to understand, like, that's not how things work. We have to look at supply and demand and how like economics works. And unfortunately, Mamdani, I think he's tapping into something that's so real. This feeling from young people, they want to make a difference. They want the world to be a better place. They see inequality. They're so sad. But unfortunately, his policies are not going to be the things that fix our city or our governments. And also the policies that we really, really need are going to be less regulation, less taxes, guys. We need more innovation from individuals and less government in our lives, okay? So if you are a Mamdani person, just watch this video. I used to be like you, and share this with people. The road to hell is paved with good intentions, and I don't know what's gonna happen next, but I know that free everything paid for by the government is not the solution, and it may make you feel good now, but down the road, you're gonna pay for it.
That little clip right there is literally the evolution of maturity, the evolution of a human brain that is exercising critical thinking and opening up to the realization, the perspective that, oh my goodness, everything, how many times have I said it? Indoctrination camps, these higher education, they teach you to hate America. They teach you to hate people with money. They teach you that anybody running a corporation, anybody running a business is evil. If there's ever a video to share, it's this one right here. That little clip right there on its own, I love that. That makes my heart sing. Okay, here's the moment we've all been waiting for. Here is Trump speaking with Maria Bartiromo on an exclusive interview this morning, Sunday, and this is what he has to say about Zohran. Watch this.
What did you make of the New York Democrat primary? Mamdani.
He's a communist. I think it's very bad for New York. I don't know that he's going to get in. It's inconceivable that but he's a communist, and he's a pure communist. I think he admits it. But I can't imagine it. But let's say this. If he does get in, I'm going to be president, and he's going to have to do the right thing, or they're not getting any money. He's got to do the right thing. It's shocking that I would have assumed that I used to say we will never have a socialist in this country. No, but we'll have a communist. I mean, he's a communist and going to be mayor of New York. So I was very surprised when I said, I never heard of him. I don't know who he is.
Well, he said he's going to fight ICE. He's not going to allow ICE to.
He'll be very unsuccessful.
And he said if Benjamin Netanyahu comes to New York, he's going to have him arrested.
Oh, he's a radical left lunatic.
I mean, Trump just has a way of putting everything so succinct. Well, what he is he's a radical left lunatic. That's what he is, which is why I always listen to Professor Nez, right? Because he's a smart guy, good-looking guy, too. I love Professor Nez. Thank you, Mr. President. I love you. Oh, he just always has a way of putting it so beautifully. And I know that Tom Homan and I know Trump are not going to be afraid. But this is the last thing I just want to say about Mamdani. I don't even think the guy is real. He's a concoction. He's a fabrication. He's the embodiment of the narrative that these guys have been perpetuating, the demagoguery, which ironically they've been attributing to Trump. They have the media apparatus spreading the message that with very, very precision, Goebbels type precision, he's a fascist, threat to democracy, constitutional crisis. Think about it. Everything is now coming to fruition into this embodiment of Mamdani. Mamdani is just a personification of the narrative they've been trying to concoct for God knows how long, ever since Trump announced he was going to run for presidency. He's not real. He doesn't believe in any of this stuff. This guy is not here to help anybody. This is their new guy. This is why you see now Jeffries and everybody jumping on board. Why else would they fight for illegals? Why else would they fight for criminals? Why else would they fight for rapists, murderers, gangsters, gang members? Why else would they travel to El Salvador and have margaritas with a known wife abuser and much, much worse, fentanyl trafficker as well? Why else would they be fighting for this? Why else would they let in tens of millions of people without any due process? They're so proud of saying due process. Without any vetting, without any screening, just giving them the red carpet, having them come in and lay American cities under siege. Because that's the only way that will guarantee them from not ever having to hold a real job like you and me ever again in their life. This sounds like major conspiracy, but if you think about it, you've got the media apparatus, which is extremely powerful, polluting the brains of our fellow citizens, feeding them this notion with really, this is archetypal Joseph Campbell, the mythology of story type of language. They're masked, secret, covert officer, Gestapo, sweeping people. Listen to the language. If rhetoric is anything, I've taught the principles of rhetoric, Aristotle. If rhetoric is anything, it's an awareness of the language choices that we make. That's my favorite definition. A lot of people hear rhetoric and they think, oh, that's just politics. No, it's an awareness of the language choices we make. And when you have that awareness, you have power. Awareness equals power. They're sweeping them off the streets. Our neighbors, our friends, our families. Listen to the use of language. And now they've got a guy who is a three-dimensional personification of this narrative, who's going to fight ICE, fight deportation, probably allow more illegals to come in here unvetted, give them radical amnesty, radical citizenship, so they never have to ever worry about holding real jobs again. That's what it's all about. And they're using Goebbels' scientific precision, demagoguery. Do you agree or disagree? I'm happy to be wrong. I never say that my word is the last word. These are just my thoughts based on my expertise, my due diligence, my research. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I voted for Trump 3 times. I voted for common sense. I didn't vote Republican. I didn't vote Democrat. I didn't vote right or left. I voted for common sense. And I think Trump revolutionized the political landscape. And he's done so time and time again. And he's proven to be right every single time. Let me know what you think. If you wouldn't mind tapping that thumbs up before you go, because it helps us out immeasurably, doesn't cost you a thing. You could even do it with the remote on your TV. Just tap that thumbs up, leave a comment, watch this video, share it. That would really, really mean a lot to us. Also, check out these videos coming up on the screen right here, just in case you missed them. Tap my face right here to subscribe and follow. It's absolutely free. And as always, may God bless you May God bless New York City. They're going to need it. And may God bless the USA and all who defend her. I'll see you soon.